what's up? I guess it's just me and one other person, maybe two. No, maybe just me. I'm the only one in chat. Okay. I'll give it a couple minutes. Nobody shows. If I go, I go. Give me another free night, which is fine. I go with the flow. Just hang out here and make sure everything's good. Might as well check stuff out until somebody wanders in here. Right there. Bring this down. Hello, folks. I'm just getting situated here for the upload for the night. We're going to do vampires. Start getting into the Halloween season in this area too. Here we go. Drop that down. I hope everybody's good. I see that I got 2 now. I know I'm in chat, so that makes it 3. So I hope you guys have a good weekend, whoever's watching. Appreciate it. Be stopping in. Make sure you hit a like. Appreciate it. If you don't stay, at least tip the like. Other than that, yeah, I hope everybody's having a good one. Oh, excuse me. It's hard to talk when I'm the only one here, so bear with me. It's like talking to myself. It's okay. I guess we all do it once in a while. But yeah, I'm going to do vampires tonight, one of her first vampire ones. And then maybe another spooky one or another vampire after that. And I hope everybody is having a good night. Beautiful here today. Got a little toasty, but it was nice. I mean, I like it a little cooler. I don't know. I know Big Michigan Rob's streaming too. He does his midnight show. So I don't expect a whole lot of people because I know people bounce it. I know there's other people streaming too, but I know he's one of them. I don't know what goes on SOR anymore. I haven't watched for about a couple months now. Used to listen on the radio. I've just been too busy. And usually I listen to him on the radio. They can pick him up. But yeah, everybody's just watching me squirm, huh? Which is fine. I'm all ready to go. I'll probably start to replay about 12:30 if anybody shows up. I'm glad that you are here. I appreciate it. But like I said, I may go ahead and roll it. We'll see what happens. Try to give some people time to come in. It's a nice night, so I don't know how the weather is everywhere else. And plus, the poor folks down south got family down there, so I know they're struggling. We did our part. I hope everything helps, so I get it. But yeah, trying to keep things going here. But yeah, we're gonna do it was one of her first vampire ones. Where'd it go? I moved again. Dang it! There it is. Could these vampires encounters actually be real? It's from another one from 3 years ago. It's about 18 minutes. And then I think she's got another one. I want to do another spooky one. I wouldn't mind doing 2 vampires, but I'm kind of spread them out. And then I'll find me another good spooky one to play after that. We could do real werewolf encounters part 1. And we can split them up because the vampire thinks she did a bunch of vampire ones, so. And then she did a couple almost vanished, which is interesting. She's got a couple of those I remember were pretty good, so we'll check those out over time. I'll try to keep as much of the spooky stuff as possible during the Halloween season. Mix it up a little bit. Other than that, yeah. Anybody see anything good lately? I'm glad I got to watch Penguin now. I'm really digging that show. Got a couple more I want to watch, catch up on. Yeah, I'll start the replay. Yeah, up down to me again because they expect Gemma. So they're looking for Gemma. These are new people looking for Gemma. So I'll give it a couple more minutes and I'll go ahead and start the video, I guess. And thank you. Howdy, sweetie. I was starting to give up. I was about ready to leave. I give it a few minutes and I usually give it 10 or 15 minutes. Nobody shows. I go because I'm not going to sit here by myself. Watch two people look at me and go, he's funny. He's talking to himself. You were taping the coyotes howling at the night. Oh, wow. Cool. That's always cool. That's one thing I didn't hear in Colorado. And they told me I would, and I didn't hear. But having a bear stand in front of me was good enough for me. Watching the Longhorns beat the crap out of each other. Yeah, well, you got to remember Michigan Bigfoot Rob streams at midnight. And I think there's a couple other people that do. I don't know what Spaced Out Radio does anymore. I don't know what their lineup's like anymore, and they keep changing. So, and that's all right. I mean, these midnight streams, if people show, they show. If they don't, I'm not worried about it. I mean, yeah, I try to add views to Gemma's forte, but yeah, these are pretty much wing nights, you know. I do the best I can, and I figure these are the best time for me to stream. I'm usually up anyways. I might as well talk to somebody for a while at least. Lived here all my life, and this is the first year I've seen one or heard them howl like this. I wonder why, Edna. Crazy world out there. Something's got them riled up. And the weather's crazy too. You know, we've had some major solar flares. You might have a pretty good chance of keeping your eyes out your windows at night and toward the northern skies because we've had some serious X flares and a good some pulses. So you might be able to see if you have clear nights. You might be able to see the aurora borealis. Forget it. You know what I'm talking about. The northern lights. There we go. It's easier for me to say. You should be able to see them. Now, the one night, I could see color, but it's still too much. I'd have to go up north further away from lights, but I could see color in the sky. I was seeing greens and blues. It was weird in the middle of the night. I'm just far enough that the light kind of kills the really good effect, but I can see the color. And it lasted a while. I couldn't stay any longer. And it wouldn't show up on the phone, which really kind of blew because I wanted to record them. But yeah, you got that. Nothing like the coyotes. You know, wolves are a lot deeper, so if you would know that they were wolves. Yeah, I'm up and I'm a little stressed. But yeah, I'm doing vampires tonight, Edna. The first one's vampires. I haven't decided on the next one. I think the next one after this, I'm going to do werewolves. And then I'll spread them out since she's got a little bit of everything. I'm going to go camping in the dark sky area. I loved camping. I still do. I just haven't been out for a while. I don't think I can sleep on the ground anymore without messing myself up to the age. But, oh, yeah, I've been looking at campers. I have a tent. Probably get an air mattress. You can get nice ones now. I just never owned one. I had a cot, but it kind of got old, and I slept on it. I'm surprised I never broke it. Seeing all the stars in the sky. Oh, it's always breathtaking. When we used to go down to we called it the cabin down in Logan with a friend of mine, where all the craziness happened off and on. Those skies were, when those nights were crystal clear, you could see everything. And I always regretted not taking my telescope with me. Hold on. I'm trying to do the cleanup on the yard and keep up on the leaves. Even though they're not changing color, they're drying up and just falling off the trees. I really hope we get some color this year because it's getting toasty here during the day. But yeah, there is nothing like the sky at, in a crystal dark area, no lights. One night we actually got there, it was so clear, and we must have been at the right time in the right place. We got to see some of the Milky Way, which was really cool because it was that dark. One time they lost power out. They had lost power down there, and everybody in there. You got to imagine it's all hillside, so the lights are sparse anyways. But it, for some reason, made it even darker, and it was just amazing. Or if you go around and turn off all the lights around the house, you couldn't see 5 feet in front of you. I don't know if I'd want to wander around there, and I have, but because it gets dark in those woods down there. And it's creepy because a lot of weird shit goes on down there. Pardon my mouth. Yeah, I'm rambling. I got the first couple minutes. I was here by myself. Well, not by myself. There was 2 other people. Yeah, nothing like camping. Now, me and the ex used to go all the time. Took the kids a couple times. It's a little rough with the kids. They keep you too busy. So it makes it hard, but it was fun. They always had a good time. Wore you out. You slept. Hey, Chris, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Catching up on the shows. I watched Penguin. That's all I watched. I watched earlier. I watched Godzilla vs. Bionicle. I hadn't watched it for a while, so I figured I'd watch it. I couldn't believe HBO had it on because it's one of those ones they don't show too often. Already caught up. There you go. I know my son said today he was caught up. There's a couple I'm going to go check out. A couple shows I've been told to check out, but yeah, I just never have time. And when I do have time, I'm in here either doing paperwork or cleaning or doing something else. But I told myself I was going to miss on Penguin and a couple other ones I've been keeping up on. And my animes. Plus, I like rewatching the old when I'm not in the mood to watch a whole lot. Just sometimes help me go to sleep. I'll watch like the old animated Superman or Batman. Right now, I'm doing Adjusted Leagues. Those are what I go to sleep by. That way, if I fall asleep, I know I've seen everything. But that's hard to do. I usually end up having to turn it off. I just pretty much sit there and stare at it until my body says, I'm done. Oh, what'd you think? I've heard the beginning's like really good until they bring in the music. But I'm kind of done with the Harley Quinn thing. But honestly, what did you think? It was okay. That's the most part of what I've heard. It's okay. You didn't like Salem Lot, did you? I haven't watched it yet. But then again, you can never touch the original. No, you didn't like it. No. I'm sure Gemma will watch it. She's a vampire. You know her and her vampires. But yeah, I'm gonna watch it just to see. It was one of my favorites. I still watch the original. Second one, but the original I like. And I remember watching it on television. I made sure I had those nights off. The Speak No Evil was good. Oh, that's cool. And that doesn't watch movies. She's outside recording the coyotes. Pretty sure I'm related to a couple of vampires. Really? Who would those be? No, don't tell me. I don't want to know. I'm pretty sure. I'm beginning to wonder about my dad. The guy just keeps thinking. Bless his heart. It's a good thing. You know. It's nice getting to know him all over again. But there's a few people in my, especially on my mom's side, I kind of wonder what they're into. I don't think they're vampires. We get what the question is, and what makes you think that? You can trip over coyotes here in the suburbs. Oh, I know. But she says she hasn't been a while since she's heard them or seen them. So this was kind of like out of the blue for her. She says they're early stirred up. I like to know what stirred them up. She said they were howling and everything. They were knocking on the front door asking for pie and a couple beers. So I don't know what they got all wound up for. Trying to be funny. It's hard when you're by yourself. Yeah, we're going to do one of her vampires, and I'll do the werewolf. I'll try to spread them out. And if everything goes good for next Wednesday, I should have some good stories. I'm writing, kind of going through stuff. I've only seen their tracks around the creek before. Now they are everywhere. Yeah, they're being shuffled because of change. Change in the environment. You said they were doing a lot of building and stuff. Might be screwing with them. Plus, food source. Looking for food. Yep, we're taking up all the land. They're trying to, there's people trying to get the government to sell some of the unused forests. I'm like, man, don't do that. I mean, stuff that's, not being used. Nobody ever goes there. Kind of wonder why. But yeah, I heard that the other day. What they need to be doing is spending their money down in the South, taking care of those people in North Carolina, all along that hurricane path. And I'm hearing some horrible stories coming out of that too. Yeah, it has, just like the deer. And you wonder if the coyote population has jumped up so high. I would hope that it knocked down some of the deer population because, man, the deer are going nuts too. Yeah, killed off the bears and wolves. Well, the bears are coming back. Not as strong as they should be, but they are coming back. Now, the wolves are coming back too, but in the further regions. I got to sell. You wouldn't believe what I could get from my house. Oh, you probably get a good price for your house. Yeah, I do too. Me and Dad were talking about that. Actually, I was showing him a picture of a little town in Japan. I said, Dad, this is where we moved, right here. It was quaint, right along the mountains. Beautiful. The little town was known for its strawberries. You couldn't want a better place. Cheap. I mean, the only thing that would cost us is the move. So you take what you can carry and leave the rest behind and start over there. The Fed said on national TV that they have no money. Yeah, no, they don't. Where'd that money go, Chris? Yep, they gave it all to the illegals. And Ukraine, a bunch of BS, and the rest they pocketed. We're not going to get into that here because I don't want to get Gemma mad. And it does screw with the algorithm, believe it or not. The red wolf is just about extinct. Yes, it is. Yeah, it is a disgrace. And for every couple good people, there's about 4 bad people. I hate to say that, but it's what it feels like right now. Yeah. You know, they want to genetically, they're working on trying to bring a mammoth back. You know, they want to bring the condors back, you know, help with the population, but they're doing that pretty good on their own now. Though somebody did say that they did clone a couple. How true that is. The thing is, China's doing a lot of that stuff too. Oh yeah, if you Google it, yeah, they say they do, but they don't. He said on national TV they didn't have enough money for the hurricane funds. Like they won't even let private people go down and try to get in there and help them. You know, they stopped a whole load of Starlinks. You better go look around and watch a little bit more news, Edna. Not to sound mean, but I don't want to get on the subject because I don't want to upset people. But yeah, it's true. They said they didn't have enough money for hurricane. Let me find dun, 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 dun. Yeah, those stopping helpers. Oh, I've heard some not good stories coming out of there, and I'd have family in those mountains. And my brother Tim's right there watching a lot of it go down. Trying to figure out how to do this. Oh my goodness. Let me look and let me look. Here's the one about Starlink. Problem is, I'm not sure if you like the guy, but he's giving straight information. And a lot of it's coming right out of TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. But I don't want to do that one. Maybe go try something else, something a little more tamer. Because he gets kind of angry. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Okay, I don't want to do that one. That's about the whistleblowers. Here we go. Now she's worth listening to. She's popular. A lot of people like her. There you go. Go listen to her talk. She's a sweetie. She's big time. Entire time. Yes. Actually, there are hollers that are almost nothing but water now. That are finally draining and are not liking what they're finding. They tried to send drones in. Private citizens trying to send drones in to find family, and they're making them bring the drones back. I really didn't want to get into all this. But yeah, unfortunately, there's some not great news. Hi, Lisa B. I didn't want you to come into a crazy conversation because this is a paranormal channel, not a political channel. But yes, the information is out there, Edna. You just got to go look, and it's true. Believe me, I've done my share of looking and researching this because I don't like saying things that I don't. I'm big about knowing the facts. Me and details. I'm like a diehard for details. I've kin there too. The roads have gone. Yeah. The 1927-year-old dam failed. Yep. I know which one you're talking about. Yeah, I've been following it. Yeah, all I know is I've got relatives there that I have never met. But I know I have relatives there up in those hollers. Especially on my mom's side. So yeah. But yeah, my brother Tim, he lives in Tennessee. Not very maintained. You got to remember, a lot of those bridges a lot of those dams didn't, they got maintained, but just enough to pass code, which is sad because some of those dams around in there are pretty old. And the only way you're going to know how truly well they were maintained is try to get on the I guess that would be the water department, watershed, whatever, and look and see if you can find any stats. Yeah, it has happened before, not like this on this degree though. This was pretty bad. And there's another one coming, which scares me even more. Though it will probably do more damage to Florida. I don't think it will go up into the south. I think this one will cut across, probably straight across Florida, right across Tampa and all that. Now that will cause damage. They're saying it might go, but they're saying the one that's growing now will probably be a strong 3 by the time it hits. I think Wednesday or Thursday. They're saying Wednesday afternoon now. So another one's coming, but still all that moisture coming off that hurricane going north, because you know how they spin. It's going to throw more moisture up that way, which is not good. So just keep them in your prayers and hope that somebody starts picking up the slack, because I'm hearing horrible stories and stuff's not getting done. I'm not real happy. Well, I was never really happy with the government, but you know, let's not get too political, because God knows I don't want to cause a problem. It would be the governor's responsibility. The other one is coming. We in the middle. Yeah, we are in the middle of a hurricane season. Heck, be glad the 2 that are out there at sea now didn't come this way, because the one that's really cranking right now, I think at one point became a category 5. But it's the only thing that has to worry about that is the fishies. So yeah. But yes, and it's probably going to be a rough one too. I really believe that. And I'm praying for everybody down there. Yeah, it's going to be a rough one. I have a funny feeling. I think we'll probably have a pretty average winter here, but I think down south may have some very interesting weather. The mountains sometimes do. Sometimes they, go through the mountains and slow down, but when they reach the other side, they build right back up again. It's just like in the Rockies when we get storms off the west coast, and they come up over those Rocky Mountains, and that cool air sometimes fuel that stuff, and that warm northern or that warm air that comes up out of California, and then off the cool air coming off of Canada and the Arctic. The almanac, yeah, I read it too, and usually it's pretty right, but it doesn't give specifics. It'll just kind of give a localization, and I think it will be for a lot of people. I think people up north of me. I'm thinking Ohio. We're in that middle ground, and we'll probably have maybe above average winter. but I don't think it's going to be. I think we'll be more cold like it was last year. Yeah, and that's great. Right, my most of my family on mom's side, a couple farmers down on dad's side, all use that almanac. The almanac, the farmer's almanac, is a great thing. I mean, it's pretty accurate. I mean, but yeah, it's you go with the flow with it because things change. Yeah, my uncle Water swore by it too, and he raised cattle, but it gave him a good idea because he has to plant feed for the cattle. I mean, he planted the feed and the hay and everything for the cattle too. I mean, he had land to do all that, so it's like he only had to buy certain things for food for those guys. And usually, most of it was just supplements and stuff, doctor care, vet care. But yeah, he basically grew his own food for him and everything. So, and then they hit natural gas on his property, and he still did all that stuff, but he had money coming in. It's a shame. I would have loved to have had that property too, because I still think there's Fae down there by that pond. I don't know. I'm trying to get Dad to go. We're going to go down and look at his grandfather's property. They owned a farm in Chillicothe, and he wants to go check that out. And then we're going to go check out this bridge that this one guy posted on, I guess on Twitter or on X. He posted it somewhere where he's down at the bridge, like another crybaby bridge, but actually it's a railroad track with a tunnel and a creek beside it. It's a pretty popular video right now, one of them. But you hear the lady talking, then you hear the baby crying. But he knows where it's at. It's not from where he grew up from, so he's going to take me there, and we're going to film. See if I can. I don't want to scare the crap out of a 90-year-old man if something happens, but because I know exactly where that's at. When I showed him the video, he goes, "I know where that's at," and it's true. Weird stuff happens there. That's all he said. So we're going to go check it out. He said, "Take me right to it." The land behind the quarry where McMansions are built is a national asbestos field. I asked a friend if she had to inform them. Guess what the answer was? Probably not. Right? Farmer Iggy's on next says snow in the summer, reaping fallberry. Your wife when the wheat gets tall. Bingo, Ghost. Yep, I know it's a no. That's messed up too. Let me get this video ready. I didn't realize it's 12:30 already. You can't keep me up till 3 tonight. I gotta go at 2. I'm tired. I didn't sleep at all last night. I just stayed busy. It's been about 25 years now. I wonder how many have cancer. Good question. Probably quite a few of them. It's like, you notice how they don't talk a whole lot about here in Ohio, Palestine, the railroad, the train that derailed. Though I know there are suits and some of it's being kind of kept quiet, but they didn't really help those people. I mean, they basically did the same thing with the survivors down south. Oh, you get $750 for you, but you got to apply for it and you have to meet social requirements. They're not giving you that money. You got to go apply for it. So, yeah, I think that did the same thing to them up there. And I know a lot of people are going to be screwed up by that. And then you had another bio plant down in Georgia that blew up the other day and caught on fire. There's nasty red smoke coming out of it. And they're telling people to stay in the house. Stay in the house? No, you get the hell out of there. Those people all still have cancer and babies are dying. I would not, yeah. Oh, I know. Yeah, I've been keeping up with it too. The one down in Georgia is going to be real bad. A lot of people are going to be very sick. It's messed up. I mean, you wonder why all of a sudden all this is happening. Just because people probably didn't know a lot of that stuff was going on in these places, being hauled around on these trains. Yep, they say you can smell it all the way to Atlantic Ghost. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was really bad. When I watched somebody was showing a video of right when it happened, and that first kind of set of clouds that come out of that thing were red and black, and it just looked scary. They're telling people, "Oh, seal yourself in, get inside, shelter inside." Heck no, I'd be in my car getting the hell out of there, grabbing everything I can get and get the heck out of there. The entire Bible Belt wiped out. Yeah, and you know the thing about the Bible Belt too is if you notice the Bible Belt is also on a tornado belt too, and everything else belt. So that shows you how much faith these people have. And they stay. You know, they live through these disasters and rebuild every time. But yeah, it's messed up. And these chemical plants and trains, it's just not good. Actually, they didn't evacuate them until like 48 hours after because they were literally telling people to shelter in place when it first happened. And then they finally got them out. But by then it's too late. You're already breathing. You can shut up your house and close your windows. It's still going to get in. And you know that as well as I do. And even if they got them out within the 48 hours, there's a big chance that most of those people, especially those closest to it, probably breathe that stuff in. We'll start feeling the effects of it within the year or two. That stuff was nasty. I mean, I've seen some messed up smoke, but that red was just scary looking. When I saw that red in that black cloud, it's like, that's not good. That's pure chemical. Let me load up the video here. You guys keep talking. All the people that come in to hang out, 4 of us, I think I'll pick up, hopefully, when I put the video on. I knew I'd have a shy crowd tonight. I don't know. I have a reason. I kind of know the reason, but what can I do? Anyways, let's get the run going. It is horrible. It's sad. Because, it doesn't just affect the people. The animals, the birds, the tree life, the grass. I mean, it affects Earth, too. So not only are they, not only is it destroying people's lives, it's destroying the environment. Okay, let me get this set up. Nothing like a good vampire. And then after that, I'll do the werewolves. And that one is 19 minutes long. This one is only like, I lost it again. Oh, here it is. It's only 18 minutes long. Stop. Gemma. Okay, let me do this. Yes, if you can donate blood. If you can't give money, donate blood. Since we're talking about vampires, yeah, actually, that's well said. And I mean, there's only 4 of us, so or 2 of us is talking. Well, Chris is in and out. Thanks, Chris, for the information. I love that. I even know I couldn't read it with a dang. That's me, not you. Okay, there we go. But yes, donate blood, plasma too. Because there were sick people down there. There's people down there that are not getting their insulin and their medications, and it's scary. Share. Let me switch out here real quick. And when I make myself a little smaller here. There we go. Like this here. And when everybody's ready, I'll go ahead and start it. And then you need And Facebook, you need to say that. I'll say it too later, because people don't think about stuff like that. Donating blood, plasma. And I haven't heard them ask. All I've heard about is money. I didn't even think about that. So that was smart. And the blood bank is low. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and start. If it's loud enough, let me know. If it's not, let me know.
Channel, and if you're new here, just welcome. My name is Gemma Jade, but today we are going to be discussing vampires. Now, this is kind of just
Everybody hear that
another teaser
okay?
video, because this is something that I've had such a hard time in finding actual real research on. It's so frustrating to me because at first I wasn't sure if I was going to do a video on this particular legend, despite it being the one that always absolutely kind of just does it for me, right? Since I was a little girl, I've been reading stories and novels about vampires. Literally anything I could get my hands on, I would absolutely devour. When Interview with the Vampire came out, I was completely hooked, and this made me even more obsessed. The idea of vampires became somewhat of a romantic thought for me, and still to this day, well into my adulthood, it still is. For me, it was the idea of never growing old or ugly and living forever. Many people think this is a horrible idea, but I don't. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. The drinking blood part is kind of like, man, but I think I could do it if I absolutely had to, because as humans, we adapt, right? So why not? Vampires are probably the most common supernatural being there is. Think about how many books and movies are made about them every single year. There are literally thousands. Also, look how well these things do when they're about vampires and done the right way. From the aforementioned Interview with the Vampire movie to the books about the vampire Lestat, right up to True Blood and even Twilight. I admit it, I'm a Twilight fan. I'm total Team Edward Abbey, even though I'm half Native American. I've been absolutely entranced and enthralled by the supposed culture that exists somewhere in the shadows. The nocturnal men and women who are allegedly so evil have somehow become my heroes. And I think that's the same for a lot of people. The anti hero has somehow become the actual hero in the case of many of the famous and aforementioned vampires of modern culture. They're so misunderstood, at least in my opinion. Imagine the loss one suffers when they never grow old, yet everyone around them, everyone they love, eventually does, and then those people die. I think what lured me in the most, though, is the idea of never growing old, being able to enchant or glamour people and get them to do whatever I want them to do whenever I need it done. I guess this is a little girl in me who's been bullied my whole life, wanting some kind of recourse, right? Imagine the wealth you could gain too over centuries, seeing how the world changes, not only money, but also knowledge, the power a person must feel, that superhuman strength and the ability to accumulate wealth across centuries, all of it. The drinking of human blood would be just a pest for me, like when I have to mop my floors. Yeah, I said it. Sorry. It would literally be that inconsequential for me to have to drink human blood if I were able to have the rest of what I just mentioned to you happen for me. I'm a loner anyways, so after all of my loved ones right now have passed on, I would be perfectly content to roam about and travel this world alone for all of eternity. I'm not saying I would never communicate with anyone, but I would be perfectly okay with never getting too close. But we didn't come here to talk or hear about me, right? What's the point of this whole thing? I'm here today to discuss with you the world of vampires that I've heard rumors about far outside of the fiction genre, outside of the world of Hollywood. I've been long searching for real vampires, and don't take this offensively because definitely none is meant, but I'm not talking about the supposed real vampires we hear about in The Real Vampires of Buffalo or Real Vampires of New Orleans. I'm talking about the alleged real vampires that seem like they walked right off of those aforementioned Hollywood movie sets or right out of one of my beloved True Blood novels. Sure, I'm sure there'll be a few differences here and there, but the base of life will be the same. Eternal beauty, massive wealth, unending knowledge, and immortality. Those are the things I've been looking for in my life. While I keep coming up short every time I decide to sit here and try to do some more research, which is why a video has never been done by me before, I found a few pretty interesting experiences where people have claimed to have had encounters with vampires throughout generations that I wanted to share with you today. A little break from the heavy, as I always say, and feel free to, as always, and with everything I bring to you, take it however you will and with a grain of salt. At the end of the day, obviously, it's up to you what you believe about this and any other subject I bring to you from this channel. I'm finishing up Shadow People Part 2, just recorded 1.5, and figured this would be a little bit of fun, so here it is. Between 1875 and 1876, near the village of Croglin in Cumbria, at a place called Croglin Low Hall, 3 Australian siblings named Michael, Edward, and Amelia Cranswell were renting the hall out while visiting England on some sort of vacation. It was the summer of 1875, and the siblings were having a lot of fun and enjoying their stay near the picturesque village. They were also well liked by the people in the nearby small town. Nothing seemed to be sinister or strange about the place or their stay until one night. As far as I can tell, the detail on this are a bit shady as they vary depending on source, and there are many sources and retellings of this particular encounter. Each sibling had their own room in the hall, but they were all in pretty close proximity to one another. And in the middle of the night, one night, either on the second or third night, while all was quiet, Edward and Michael were awoken by Amelia's blood curdling screams. They both got up and ran as fast as they could to her room to see what in the world was wrong. They each figured she had had some kind of nightmare, as this was not a normal occurrence for her to wake up in the middle of the night screaming like this. And she also had no known psychological problems at the time. Once they entered her chamber, however, they realized something was very wrong, much more wrong than some kind of silly nightmare, as their sister was in absolute hysterics. Amelia said when she can finally gather herself and be able to speak again, that she had left the window open to get some fresh air, as it was a beautiful night. It was a beautifully cool night, and it helped her to rest better having the cool air come in. She told her brothers that some sort of creature with bony fingers had entered through the window and attacked her, going right for her throat with a sickening grin on its face. The thing had actually grabbed a hold of her and bitten her right on the neck, leaving 2 pointed marks that looked like what we would now call a vampire bite right away if we were at all familiar with modern culture and what fang bites supposedly look like. Obviously, everyone was pretty shaken up, and one of the brothers called for the local doctor. That's what you kind of did back in those days. You didn't wait and make an appointment and call the answering service in the middle of the night, right? Or go to the ER. You called for the doctor. When the doctor arrived, he immediately examined Amelia's wounds and then assured all 3 of the siblings that she would be just fine and it wasn't anything serious. And the reason he said he knew this, he further explained that a small child who lived on a farm nearby had suffered a similar attack. And aside from being scared nearly to death, as Amelia was, she was absolutely fine and suffering no side effects or after effect due to the bite wound. The wound would heal and Amelia would be just fine, at least physically, as presumably this would have quite the effect on someone's mental health, but that's just my opinion. The doctor said he believed in his professional and medical opinion that the bite marks were from that of a monkey who may have escaped from a traveling circus which had stopped and set up camp nearby to the hall where the siblings were staying. Sounds legit, right? A monkey, a circus monkey. This was pretty much the end of the story, and though frightened, the siblings went back about their regular lives and routines. However, the very next year, they decided to go and visit the Croglin Hall again and stay a few nights for vacation. They even all stayed in the same rooms, which to me is just insane, because if something like that happened to me, you couldn't pay me enough or blackmail me or bribe me enough. You couldn't get me there. Like, nowhere, you couldn't get me anywhere near the hall, let alone staying in the exact same room by myself only a year later. I guess they had kind of put the whole episode behind them, as just as the doctor had assured them, there were no lasting or after effects of the attack on Amelia. They were all on guard though, and when the brothers once again woke up in the middle of the night due to Amelia's screams, this time they were prepared. They raced to her room even faster than last time, and this time they caught just a glimpse of this creature themselves as it made its escape out the window. Michael went right to Amelia to help her while Edward gave chase to the creature with his pistol. Like I said, they were prepared this time just in case as they went about their daily lives. Yeah, they went about their normal routines. Yeah, but in going back to this place, they had never forgotten what had happened to her. Edward just somehow knew that this thing was no circus monkey attack, and upon setting his own sight on the thing, even just for that split second where he saw it, he knew it was something much more sinister and evil. He went and rallied a bunch of local men from a nearby town, because in the 1800s, this is what you did, I guess, because I see it all the time in stories and in books from back then. If someone or something attacks a woman, especially in the town, the men would go and hunt down who, or in this case, whatever it was, and make sure it didn't happen again. After all, these were 3 vacationers. What if it attacked one of their own and the results were something far worse than a fright and a mark on the neck? The story doesn't go on to say really why this was the case, but for whatever reason, the local men were convinced this thing was a vampire, and they led Edward in the charge to the local cemetery or churchyard to hunt for the undead monster. It's unclear how these men knew exactly which tomb to go to, but however they gained this knowledge, they were allegedly right on point because they marched right into the tomb armed to the teeth. Once inside, they found this some kind of strange creature that looked right out of someone's worst nightmare. So much for my hopes of one day being turned and becoming beautiful for all of eternity, right? The creature had blood all over its mouth and dripping down its chin and a bloody and fresh leg wound. It was seemingly a man, or at least was at one time, and thin almost down to being nothing but bone. Like it almost had no skin on it. That's how skinny it was. Gross. It also wore a long black cloak. The men then prepared a fire and threw the alleged vampire right into it. I don't know why the vampire couldn't fight back. Maybe it was weakened from the leg wound. I know that in some legend they can't go into the sun at all without burning up and turning to ash. The end of their immortal lives forever will come to them if they even go near the sun, right? I think, though, it's far more likely and far less fantastical that the sun simply weakens them, very much so, and this was happening all right around dawn. The legends say that while Amelia and no one else ever saw the creature again, even when visiting the hall, because they apparently still visited this place, even though a vampire had twice attacked the female, and they knew it was a vampire because they hunted it down. Like, again, you would not get me anywhere near this place, but okay. She did, however, have the window in the room she always stayed in bricked closed for whenever they would stay there. And it's allegedly still like this to this very day. What do you guys think about that one? Let me know in the comments, and I'm going to move right along to the second story that I have and finish up this short video. In the 1930s, there were two brothers who lived in the French Quarter in New Orleans named John and Wayne Carter. As far as everyone who knew them would say, the brothers were very normal. They led mundane lives, they worked menial jobs. One day, however, this seeming illusion of normalcy for the brothers was forever shattered when a young woman ran through the town and was seen by several witnesses. She had torn clothing, blood coming from everywhere. Her hair was all disheveled. She ended up at the police station. She told the police that she had just somehow managed to escape the basement of the Carter brothers' home. She claims they had been keeping her there as their prisoner and feeding off of her by feasting on her blood for days. The authorities, for whatever reason, I guess this is how it worked back then, just took her word for it. And they didn't just go to the house and conduct some kind of cursory interview, but they actually raided the place kind of like full SWAT gear and headed directly to the basement, kicked in the door, broke stuff, and just headed for the basement. So they immediately thought that she was telling the truth. In the end, though, thank goodness they were so overzealous, because there in that dark and smelly basement, they found four other women who were also being held as prisoners and who had the same wounds as the girl who had escaped and brought all of this to their attention. Wounds that were consistent with their blood being drank, assumably and presumably by the brothers. No clue what these wounds were, though, but I'm pretty sure it was most likely bite marks, either on or about the body or on the neck, whatever. Obviously, the Carter brothers were arrested immediately, and this was no easy feat because it's said that they were so strong and resisted so hard that it took 8 men each to restrain them and get the cuffs on them. The brothers went on to be found guilty of the abduction and murder of at least 14 other women and girls who had gone missing in the previous months around the French Quarter. They had all died by exsanguination. The brothers were sentenced to death, and once executed, they were buried in their family's vault in the town cemetery. That would have been the end of this story, except when the next family member set to be buried in the familial vault was going out there and they were going to put the casket in, it was discovered that both John and Wayne Carter's bodies were missing. They were missing out of their coffins. There were many reported sightings of the brothers after all of this, all throughout New Orleans, but they were never officially seen or heard from again, and it's unknown exactly what happened to their bodies. Theirs were the only ones in the vault that were ever missing or even disturbed in any way. Now, what do you guys think about that? Do you think, see, these are the stories kind of like what I was looking for. I'm looking for information like those that I've seen in things like Interview with the Vampire or The Vampire Lestat or even True Blood, but real stories of encounters like these that aren't fantastical or that ring true somehow to me. and I just can't find any. So that leads me to maybe state that vampires don't exist, but I just can't draw that conclusion yet. Have they somehow found a way to stay out of the limelight? Have they somehow found a way to stay off the internet? What are they doing for blood? Could they possibly have something to do with the extraterrestrials? I don't know. While these stories are still not exactly what I'm looking for as far as evidence that there are, in fact, real vampires, the kind that seems to be fiction, but in my opinion, had to have come from something much more real, I thought they were at least the most interesting ones I could come across. Again, I ran through this quickly and on very short notice, as I'm not done yet with part 2 of Shadow People and had no other content to put out. Many of you who know me by now know that I research many things involving the disappearances in the woods and the phenomenon of missing clusters of missing people. I have found many things, creatures, and beings who I think may be responsible individually for some of these disappearances. I'm going to start looking into some of the more strange cases and see if I can find some kind of connection there somehow. If there is one, you guys know I'll be the one to find it. There is one story that interests me very much from a subscriber named Lighthouse. Lighthouse, if you're watching, please send that encounter of the lady in red to me. Your story is what got me kind of thinking about maybe vampires being a part of what's going on in the woods in our national parks in the past 20 years or so. So I just want you guys to know too that my email has changed. I don't know if this video or the other video I filmed today is going to be coming out first, but a lot of you were sending me encounter stories or questions or whatever to GemmaJadeYT@gmail.com. I don't know what happened to that email. I've said it multiple times already, but I want to officially state it in one of my
Be right there. I'm going to stop the other video since he's going to get the last bit of that. Yeah, I like that one. That was our first vampire one. Okay, one sec. Yeah, there's a couple of them. There's one that that's making rounds right now that everybody was like, "Oh, this is real." No, it's not real. It's not real. There's a couple of them. There's like 3 of them right now, and I'm pretty sure all of them are fake, which is sad because it just ruins it for the real stuff. It just makes everybody more suspicious of everything, which is sad. Now, come on. Scrolling through the catalog. Okay. Come on, fingers work. There it is, right on top. Click. Stop. Okay, that one's ready to go. All I have to do is start it. Yeah, there's a couple of them. There was one I really cracked up because as soon as I saw this video, I was like, it's fake. I can't believe people are falling for this. And they were. That's like the one that the train, the kid catches, the one walking along the hillside with the train. That's fake as crap too. And people they were still showing it everywhere. It's like, come on, man. Come on, man. But yeah. So what do anybody think about that one? Clyde brought up a new PC today. That I put it away because I was way too busy for video editing. Oh man, I have to reteach myself video editing. I'm gonna publish the 2 videos I've made. Plus, if we do one down in Chillicothe the next day tomorrow, I don't know if we're going or not. He's feeling kind of rough, but we will go this week. I want to edit them, and I don't know if I'm gonna put them here or start my channel over on Rumble. Yeah, they're real easy to spot. Most of the time they are. I mean, come on. But there's just some people just eat that stuff up, just buy anything. They want it to be real so bad. But it's just so sad because all this fake stuff just ruins it for the real stuff that is out there, because there is real stuff out there. Oh, is he? Excuse me. Yeah. Actually, you run them through a video editor, you can tell right off the rip too. But yeah, most of them you can. Some people are good at it. He's probably one. But I know a bunch of people like me. You spot the details. If you just pay attention to what you're watching, look at the details. A lot of times you can pick it up right away. That's like some of these Dogman stuff. It's just like, come on. You're piecing stuff together. Give up. I don't want to pay for an expensive video editing software. A PC was enough. Oh, yeah. This Bigfoot had big teeth, too. Too good. Had teeth too good, yeah. Are you talking about the one that's sitting underneath the tree and it's messing with something, and then it looks at the camera? It looks like a orangutan, but it's not. My nose is draining again. 1 second, folks. Oh, my goodness. Hey. Yeah, that's just like the one, Chris, about the guy that I talked to. I've had a couple of truckers tell me stories like this. So I believed it when I first saw this one. I believed it because I've had truckers out like telling me the same type of experience. The exact same, almost the exact same type of experience. You know, I told in one of my counters not too long ago, but a trucker swears that something was banging up the side of his truck, and it was hollering and hooting as it ran into the. And then I had one trucker tell me he thought it was a dog man, because he said it was more of a howl, like a human howl. But yeah, I've heard Wonder Bread truck guys talk about hearing these things on the road. So that, yeah, when I saw that video, I was like, yeah, that's definitely real. Yeah, it's the same one. That's what I thought. Yeah, you know it's fake. And then the first giveaway is when it tilts its head so you can see out the mask. So, yeah. Yeah, look at it real close. You could tell. It's kind of sad. Some people thought it was an orangutan, and it was actually taken out of zoo. I'm saying that's not orangutan. It's not real though. Yeah, but I have a funny feeling with the way things are going right now. A lot of things are being revealed to us, and a lot of craziness is happening. And I think as we go into, especially the election season, now that we're only 28 days away from that, and start settling into the winter, more and more weird stuff's going to happen. Yeah, actually, UFO videos are pretty easy to fake. You know, this guy was showing how he thinks some of these ones that people see through the airplanes, how he actually held a mirror. I don't know what he had, but he was putting it in front of a picture and stuff. Pretty wild. It's like, dang, man. But some of those ones from airplanes are real too. But yeah, I guess there was one I think sighted in Vegas or a triangle, and the guy in one of his shorts was showing everybody the copyrights from the U.S. government of the triangle crabs. That what is that called? It TB, the TRB3 or B, whatever it is. I keep forgetting what the rest of it is. It's been I've heard it called a couple things, but Russia shot down their own state-of-the-art drone. Yeah, I heard about that. It's pretty funny. There are more hearings coming up on live TV next week. Oh, for the UFO stuff, or the patent blueprint is fake, never would work. Were you talking about the patent for the triangle? Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Chris. Actually, if you go on the dark web, they look pretty rare. They also have a couple patents for a couple different interesting things on there. Yep, several kinds of UFOs. What they're going to do is they're going to stage a fake alien invasion. You know, that a lot of people believe that's what's going to happen. Who knows? I'm about ready to start this next video too. I'm only going to 2 tonight. This next one's werewolves. Did Edna give up on us, or is she just chilling? I gotta stop my nose. Okay, let's start this next one. This one is Real Werewolves Encounters Part 1. Werewolves Encounters Werewolves Part 1. Interesting. She doubled it. Doubled it. I'm still here. I figured you were. I figured you'd let me know if you were leaving. You'd say something. Okay. Yeah, share it. There we go. I actually like this one too. This is one of her first ones when she started doing this stuff. Okay. And we're sharing. Good.
What is up, you guys?
This
welcome
sounds a
back
little
to my
better.
channel, and if you're new here, just
Too,
welcome. So. My name is Gemma Jade, but today we are going to be discussing real werewolf encounters, allegedly real life encounters with werewolves. Now, I covered something similar when I did real vampire encounters because I was searching for real vampire encounters and I still haven't come across any. So I want you guys to know that as with everything else, I'm still digging deeper. And you guys know I'm doing that with so many different things. I have so many series going. So forgive me if you're waiting for a particular part 2 or part 3 and it hasn't come yet. Just know it definitely will. And most likely soon. I can't even really tell you when. I'm doing my best to keep everything in order and kind of not give you too much of one thing at once. I know some of my videos lately have been kind of on the short side, but that's only because a lot of the time I want to get out like the initial information or give you guys a few encounter stories while I dig deeper. It's really hard to find any information on real vampires, but it's not that hard to find some on real life werewolves. So while today I'm just giving you encounter stories, I am going to be digging deeper into where did werewolves originate? Where did the term come from? Just everything that I can find about them and what we should know about them in real life, because I really do believe that they're real. And as always, the encounters that I put in are some of probably a lot that I found that I actually do believe in, that I do feel and think are real. So, as always, and with everything I do, I want to just start with the basics, the simplest explanation of what it is I'm referring to and what we are discussing. And also, as always, there will be more to come, definitely. There's a modern vision of the werewolf, which is almost always false altogether, or some mix of reality and fiction rolled up into one kind of character. The fact of the matter is, as I say all of the time when we speak of the Fae, the modern day concept, which is completely false and so very dangerous for us to be constantly seeing or reading about and getting these false concepts ingrained into our head, like the Disneyfied version of the fairies, which gives us this impression they are cute and likable, sweet little characters who are ever cheerful and use their magic for nothing but helping humans and perhaps committing a bit of mischievous trickery. Like, think about Peter Pan. However, though, having these ideas in our heads is really bad, because if we ever did encounter a real fairy in real life, we'd be in a lot of trouble because we would not be prepared at all for the reality of the situation. This being the fact that most of them are inherently evil, and an encounter could very quickly lead to injury, death, or things that are so much worse. So goes the same with all supposedly mythical beasts and creatures. And I say supposedly because in this community and on this channel, when dealing with this girl, right, I believe that most of these things are actually real. I believe everything had to have come from somewhere. Vampires, fairies, witches, and even what we are here to discuss today, which is werewolves. According to Wikipedia, quote, in folklore, a werewolf, or occasionally called a lycanthrope, is a human with the ability to shapeshift into a wolf, either purposely or after being placed under a curse or affliction, with the transformations occurring on the night of the full moon. Early sources for belief in this ability or affliction called lycanthropy, end quote. And I might have said lycanthropy wrong. I'm not really sure how to say that because I just say werewolf. Again, and as always, though, this varies on what you are watching or reading or what your real life experiences have been. So I'm working on a few videos about werewolves in general to see if I can find any real evidence of their actual existence nowadays. Belief in them goes far beyond and before even the Middle Ages. As with everything else we cover here, from the supernatural to the paranormal, I want real stories and encounters. The whole truth as to if there are really werewolves roaming this earth and transforming at the height of the full moon. I want details, right? So as I did with the video on vampires a couple of months ago, I'm going to give you some alleged encounters and let you make up your own mind, kind of form your own decisions as to whether or not you believe in them. I'll have more coming on the subject as always. And hey, if you don't believe in such things as werewolves and vampires, or one but not the other, maybe at least these stories can serve as a form of entertainment for you at the end of the day. Here we are, guys, some allegedly real werewolf encounters. In a 1960 issue of Fate magazine, a woman named Mrs. Delbert Gregg of Gregson County, Texas, told her story of an encounter she had had with a shape-shifting werewolf. I mean, at the end of the day, all werewolves are shapeshifters, but I report to you as I see it. So anyways, this encounter really struck me because it seems so incredibly real, and it's unique in that Mrs. Gregg didn't see the typical man shapeshifting into something else or wolf shapeshifting into something else. What she saw was a bit different. She reported that one night in 1958, when she was alone in the house after her husband had gone on a business trip, when she was getting ready for bed for the night, she decided, because she didn't have air conditioning, she would move her bed close to a window so she could open the window and let the cool breeze from the night air come into the window while she slept. There was a thunderstorm coming in from the southern horizon, and it was bound to produce a refreshing breeze for her right there under the open window with nothing but a thin screen between her and it. Right after she fell asleep, she heard what she thought sounded like scratching noises on the screen above her bed coming from the outside of her house, right outside of this bedroom window. When Mrs. Gregg sat up and looked out the window to see what the noise was, a flash of lightning showed her a hideous figure. A huge wolf-like creature with shaggy hair, approximately 6 feet tall, just standing there in her backyard, kind of lurking, if you will. The thing was staring at her with fierce, bloodthirsty eyes. They looked like two tiny little slits glowing there under the moonlight. It looked directly at her, and in another flash of lightning, she could see its fangs, which were bared. Terrified, she jumped out of bed and went to grab a flashlight to try and get a closer look, as she dared not turn on her bedroom light. As she did this, though, she couldn't take her eyes off of the thing and saw it flee from the yard by jumping into a bunch of bushes, and she thought it was running off. She stated, quote, I watched for the animal to come out of the bushes, but after a short time, instead of a giant shaggy wolf running out, the figure of an extremely tall man suddenly parted the thick foliage and walked hurriedly down the road, disappearing into the darkness, end quote. It's not often we see a story, as I said, where the person sees both the wolf and the man without it being witness to a shape-shifting situation. Let's see what we have next. In southeastern Wisconsin, while driving east on Highway 18 towards Jefferson on a dark night and desolate road in 1936, a man named Mark Shackleman looked to his right and saw some kind of figure digging in an Indian mound. The creature was described as having both ape and dog-like features and was extremely tall. It was covered with hair, had pointed ears, and was standing straight up on two legs. He watched the hands closely as the thing dug and said they had 3 fully formed fingers with a shriveled thumb and forefinger on each hand. Terrified as there was no light but that of the full moon, he just kept right on driving, right? Smart decision. Unable to forget what he had seen, Mark went back to that exact spot the next night, hoping to see the hideous beast again, but had no luck. He said the creature was making, quote, neo-human, end of quote, growling noises. He also claims this growling was all coming out in increments of 3 syllables. So if you can kind of picture that in your head. Many years later, as his son wrote for a local newspaper for one of the big cities in the area, he reminisced on the event his father had told him all of those years ago and wrote, quote, my father's first thought was that it must be something satanic, end of quote. They never knew what Mark Shackleman had seen that night, but for several decades after, reports of the exact same beast would flood into the papers and police stations, with nobody ever daring to get close enough to see what it actually was. In Ohio, between July and October in 1972, several residents of the same area reported seeing a werewolf-like creature that was between 6 and 8 feet tall and was described by many of them as human with an oversized wolf-like head and elongated nose. Others went further and described the creature as having, quote, huge hairy feet and fangs, end of quote. They claimed it was running from side to side, quote, like a caveman in the movies, end of quote, whatever that means. I'm not sure what that last bit means exactly, but you get the general gist of the story, right? Could what these people are seeing really be the legendary werewolf creature we see and hear and read so much about when seeking out the supernatural? My hope is that with just these couple of few stories, you are starting to understand my main point in this video and what I'll be delving into for the rest of this series. These creatures aren't the romanticized versions we think we know so much about. A loving and kind man cursed to roam the night of the full moon as a werewolf, just searching for love. He catches the eyes of his true love once she sees him for the beast he really is and is able to stop himself from his very nature, which is allegedly ripping any human he comes into contact with to shreds. No, these creatures are dangerous and work for the devil. I will be looking, though, to see how this happens to a person. Maybe it's not an evil person who's purposely working for the devil, right? What is this affliction? Are some people born with it, or is it actually a curse? And if so, then put on by whom? Are these men just regular guys who sold their soul to the devil for one reason or another, and the flesh and blood they rip through, tear apart, and consume, the interest payments that are being made directly to Satan or his demons? Is this the result of some terrible sin? I'm not sure yet. If the answers are there to find, though, you all know that I will be the one to find them, and I will certainly be reporting back to you what it is I do find. Whichever way it goes, if it's real, whatever I can find, you guys are going to get it. Let's move on. Now, I know these encounter stories are kind of short, and I did that on purpose because, again, this is a part 1, the basics. Are these real encounters? For you guys to decide, I want you guys to let me know in the comments what you all think. 4 teenagers in Gallup, New Mexico claim to have encountered a real werewolf while on the side of a road near Whitewater in January of 1970. One witness reported, quote, it was 5'7" and I was surprised it could go so fast. At first, I thought my friends were playing a joke on me, but when I found out they weren't, I was really scared. We rolled up the windows real fast and locked all of the doors on the car. I started driving faster, about 60, but it's hard because that highway has a lot of sharp turns. Someone finally got out a gun and shot it. I know it got hit and fell down, but there was no blood. I know it couldn't be a person because people don't move that fast, end of quote. In Western Pennsylvania, in the fall of 1973, dozens of reports of sightings were flooding the local newspapers. People all over the place were reporting seeing strange ape-like creatures running around. What makes this story stand out is the fact that these sightings were corresponding with a bunch of UFO sightings as well. In the words of one witness, the strange creatures had, quote, fire red eyes that glowed in the darkness, end of quote. They were also reported to be 7 or 8 feet tall and emitting a horrific odor that you can smell from like half a mile away. An investigator named Stan Gordon reported, quote, another type of creature was said to be between 5 and 6 feet tall. It was described as looking just like an extremely muscular man with a covering of thick, dark hair or fur. The arms were very long and hung down past the knees. This creature seemed to have superior agility exceeding that of a deer. From footprints discovered, the stride of creatures varies between 52 and 57 inches. In these reports, there was no indication of odors, end quote. Next, we have on Halloween night of 1971 at approximately 8:30 p.m., a woman was driving on Bray Road near Delavan, Wisconsin. This is about 30 miles southeast of where the Mark Shackleman encounter took place, the guy who saw the animal digging on the Indian mound on the side of the road. The woman suddenly felt her right tire kind of jump off the pavement for a second as though she had run something over. She stopped her car and got out. Almost immediately, she saw running directly towards her, running right at her, a dark, hairy, and extremely muscular creature of some kind. It was like nothing she had ever seen before, and she was immediately beyond terrified. She was petrified right at this point. A great and very deep primal fear struck her the second she saw it, and she was starting to panic. She raced back to her car, got in, and locked all of the doors. She tried to speed away, but the thing proceeded to jump on the trunk of her car. Luckily, though, there was a slight mist of rain that night, and the beast eventually fell from the back of her car due to it being too wet for it to grip onto any longer. This story was believable to me until it went on to say that later on that night, the woman brought a friend along with her to that exact spot, and as they drove by, they saw the form of that same creature rising from the side of the road. This just feels like some kind of add-on to me. The story about the kids who shot it didn't quite ring true to me either once they got to that point. But I like to let you all make your own decisions about these things, so let me know what you think, as I said, in the comments below. The last encounter story we're going to discuss today is very similar to the one above, and it happened on the same exact road, but 18 years later in the fall of 1989. A woman named Lizzie Andreezy was driving down Bray Road only a half of a mile away from the other encounter when she thought she saw a person hunched over, kind of standing back on its haunches at the edge of the road ahead of her. As she drove by, she slowed down to get a better look and saw this thing, this creature who was now within 6 feet away from her vehicle, staring directly at her and into her eyes through the passenger side window. It had large fangs and pointed ears and was covered with brownish gray fur. The woman told a reporter named Scarlett Sinkay, quote, his face was long and had a snout like a wolf. The figure's eyes glowed in the darkness and were a yellowish gold color. The arms were really kind of strange, jointed though like a man or woman's would be. He was holding his hands with his palms upward. The arms were muscular, like a man who had worked out a little bit. The back legs looked like they were behind him, like he was kneeling, end of quote. This whole encounter lasted about 45 seconds, and the woman had no idea what it was she was looking at until she later saw a picture of a werewolf in a library book. Then it hit her. This must be what she had seen. That's all I have for you today, guys. This is going to be a very short one. And I know with my 3 bizarre alien UFO abduction stories, a lot of you were like, this should have been longer. I get it. But the first video, the basics, is always just something that I put out to give you guys a hint of what's next to come so you can let me know if you want more on this subject. I had a really hard time finding longer werewolf encounters, real werewolf encounters, not ones that are obviously fake or made up. And if I read one and it doesn't ring true to me, even if it's allegedly real or widely accepted as real, I won't put it in my stuff. So let me know if this interests you all. I will definitely find some real longer encounters. I'm going to get into, like I said, the curse of becoming a werewolf, or if it's sin, whatever it may be. I'm going to look it up. It's going to take some deep diving. It's going to take some curling up in those rabbit holes I love so much, but I will take care of it and bring it all to you guys. So if you like this video, if you enjoyed spending this time with me as much, at least, as I enjoyed spending it with you, Spread the love by sharing this video, and as always, comment below so we can discuss, because I absolutely love doing that. Remember to be respectful. A lot of people come in and they don't believe, and that's okay. Like I said, just let it entertain you. You can give your thoughts and opinions too.
And I
Just
have
everybody
just
always
so
be
good. So if you
respectful.
have
Be sure
counter
to
folks that
subscribe
are
if you aren't
listening and
subscribed to my
watching,
channel already,
send
and
them
make
in.
sure you're still
And she'll put
subscribed
them on her
if you
listener
already
encounters.
subscribed, because YouTube for some reason is getting
I'm going to go
weird
ahead
where
and
like
stop this.
I wasn't subscribed.
There we go. Let me end it here. Close it out. There we go. Yeah, I have a thing for werewolves. She has a thing for vampires that cracks me up. Yeah, that he was an ex. He passed about a year ago, maybe 2. Man, she had 3 of them right one after another. I felt bad for her. We were raised learning. Yeah, we were, Edna. I've tried to teach my kids all I can teach them, and the rest is up to them. Because if it comes down to that, they're going to have to learn the rest on their own. I keep trying to teach them. Yeah, youth has been kind of spoiled. I don't think they realize if something really was to happen, they had to live out there. Would they make it? And that's all you can do, Edna. That's all you can do. Let's try. That's what I did. I tried to prepare, and I'm still trying to prepare them. So it doesn't mean stop. You keep trying to tell them. You keep trying to teach them. Drop as much information on them as you can, because that's what you do. They'll retain the important stuff. Believe it or not, they've all shocked me at times. Like, oh man, you remembered that? I'm impressed. But I'm sure my father said the same thing about me. So I don't know. Whatever I got into working in the yard Friday night, and running nose all night Friday night, which was horrible. I've never had it that bad. Yeah, still trying. But today it's been like itchy. I only did a little bit of work in the yard today. I figured I'd leave some of it for Giles to do tomorrow. Yeah, still trying is the key. And I giggle too, and I do. Bless their hearts. You get the damn phone out of their hand once in a while, they might listen. Allergic to pumpkins. I'm not, but I know people that are. Are you one of them? I just never had a thing for pumpkin other than carving it. I've tried pumpkin pie. It just wasn't my thing. That pumpkin flavor just didn't do me. Now I had my first sweet potato pie. Man, that was awesome. I like that. Tried rhubarb pie. You don't hear a lot about rhubarb pie anymore. That was really sweet. Dad loves that. Now we're going to talk about food. Food, werewolves, and vampires, and UFOs, and Bigfoots. Oh, did you? I still have green and red peppers and tomatoes. Oh, you do? You probably, see, that's the thing. You only grow a few tomato plants, and man, you get a lot of tomatoes if they grow good. My ex used to grow when we were together. We had a nice garden, and we had the green beans, peas. We tried lettuce, but that's kind of, you really got to work the land for a while and get it really just right. I did grow some potatoes, and I did grow some sweet potatoes, and let's grow tons of tomatoes, some chili peppers, and some green peppers, and she did some banana peppers. They all came up real good, man. For tomatoes and green beans, with tomatoes, she made spaghetti sauce, ketchup, all kinds of stuff. Lasted us a while. In fact, we didn't have to plant as much the following year. And green beans, we had enough green beans. I think we had tons of them. And we were giving bags of them away. And they were so good, too. Cherry tomatoes and catnip work great in Ohio. Really? Interesting. I did not know that. Pumpkins grow great here too. So does watermelon. If you can get watermelon to grow, we have a lot of creeks around here, and you can get a watermelon to grow on that creek. Oh man, they get nice and juicy. My dad got shot in the butt with buckshot. Well, I believe it was salt for stealing watermelons out of somebody's. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's what he said. It was salt. They were stealing watermelons. He got tagged. You don't mess with somebody's food, man. My taters are dying back, so it's time to dig them up. Yeah, mine got pretty good. The ones we grew, I really tried to make that ground as soft as possible. I really wish we could have gotten some lettuce and cabbage to grow. I mean, it grew, but it was real small. We tried corn. It was a joke. I think the acres we got like about that big. Like ground. I mean, there was like one part of the garden was real. I had it good and nice and soft and fluffy, and one side of it was like I couldn't. No matter how hard I tried, it was just didn't want to. But I mean, it still grew stuff. It just couldn't grow anything that in the ground. She grew carrots too. Man, she had a ton of carrots. Get some cow. Yeah, we did that too. Get some cow manure for the fall. What do you put it down for the winter, or what? Let it go over the winter before you plant next year? That's actually not a bad idea. I was always told too that if you have a charcoal grill, to when you're done, dump that in there too in your garden and till it in. So that's what I used to do. That made some of it really nice. Okay, yeah, that's actually makes sense too to do that. Yeah, every time we had a fire, I'd like a little fire pit. I'd scrape the ashes out, keep it clean, take the ashes and dump them in the garden and till them in. Yes, I think that's what my dad told me that, because what we do here is we get a pile going of the ash of charcoal and of the fire pits, and in the fall what I do is I take it and dump it all around the rose bushes and stuff. And we had rose bushes when I moved in. All of his rose bushes were dying because my little brother didn't take care of them, but now they're all nicely coming back. I got them all coming back real nice now, so I'm so happy. He had a couple of wild rose bushes alongside of the house that grew wild that I got to come back. It's winter, well, and in the spring, just till it up. Yeah, that's what we did with the ashes. What I did was I just dumped everything because I cook out all year round. And it wouldn't be surprising to see me on a snowy day out there getting the fire pit going. I could sit out in the snow and with the fire going with no problem at all. It doesn't bother. Nice way to relax too. But yeah, that's what we do, and it really helps the garden. Yeah, we used the charcoal. I was real big on that for a while because he told me that a long time ago. Christina goes, I've never heard that. And I go, yeah, well, that's what Dad told us to put in the garden. We had a pretty good sized garden on the side of our garage, but the house we lived in at the time was considered a mini farm. It sat on like an acre and a half, right in the middle of a neighborhood. It was like we had the biggest lot in the neighborhood, except the house was falling apart, belonged to my grandparents. Nobody really took care of it. I had a hard time getting it back up to where it was, and then I was just getting cranked on it when we got separated. So we sold the place, and then the people that bought the place burned it down. Had a 3-car garage because my grandfather was like my dad. He was a mechanic too. That would be his step or his father-in-law. That was my mom's parents' house that I lived in. He passed. Grandma lived there for a while. Then she couldn't live there anymore, so we moved her into a nice little apartment right close to us. And then she lived with us for a while. But my brother Tim took the house for a while and rented it off of mom and dad. Then he left. I took over. I bought the house. I had a fireplace in the basement and in the living room. Big, huge fireplaces. The one in the basement had the swing pot my grandmother used to make stew with, bean soup and all that with. And I used it. Oh man, that fire. Those 2 fireplaces, you get them going nice. You didn't have to turn on the heater. It heated that whole house up. And if you kept the one going decent in the basement, it'd warm up all the floorboards because it was all wooden floors and stuff upstairs on that main floor. So it'd heat those floors up real nice. Oh, nice about the island. It was a nice piece of land. Had a pump, had a well pump, and we never had to use the city water to fill the pool up. I just hooked a hose up to it. Yes, it does because heat rises. But both fireplaces were huge. And she had a mini kitchen in the basement, and then a laundry room, and then he had a work room. It was a huge basement too. Yeah, it was like an old farmhouse, and that's basically what it was. It was one of 3 that sat in that area, I believe. One of the oldest houses in the neighborhood. But it's funny, you'd have a house, and then boom, there was our property. I wish I never gave that place up. Because after the people that bought it from us, they burned it down. It caught on fire while they were rebuilding the house because it needed work. It needed a lot of work. And they gutted it, or somewhere they screwed up an electricity and it caught electrical fire and crispied it, where they tore it down. So the house is gone now. And then the guy that owned the land, he put 2 new houses on it and sold those because it literally fit 2 nice size houses on that property. But it had a nice long driveway, had trees. I missed that place so much. But we didn't have much of a backyard, but we had this huge side yard. But it was wide. You drive to the neighborhood and all of a sudden, house, boom, there's your property. And everybody's like, how'd you end up with that laundry? And the funny thing is, their down payment on that house was like $600. They borrowed it from my dad to put down on that house. That make you sick or what? Have a $600 down payment on a house like that makes me ill. Modern pellet stoves. Yeah, I like those. But yeah, there's nothing like an old farmhouse. I always wanted to you know how you always dream if you hit the lottery, I would. The only problem is the shingles on the side. The sidings were shingles on the side of the house, was those asbestos siding shingles. And what they would have to do is they have to wrap it because you can't take it down and try to dispose it. That costs us a fortune. So they would have to wrap it. But it needed work. But I wanted to put one of those wraparound porches on it because the way the house set, it would have been perfect to do it. Yeah, because it was nice because the driveway, you come down. You had a front door, but you come down the driveway. The 3-car garage was set separate from the house, right behind the house. Come down the driveway. There was a side door right there. You could almost pull right up to that door and get right out, unload the groceries. You had 3-car garage, big old patio in the back of the house. I miss that place. I should never let her talk me into giving it up. I should have told her, well, I'll take it over and you guys. Oh, you can sell the house. And she got all the money out of it anyway. But she had the kids, so I didn't complain. but she took the kids, and I thought she'd be better off with the kids than me. "15 minutes. I want to thank everybody for showing up. I am going to call it in 15. There's 3:00 nights, and actually she did pretty good Friday night. I keep saying last night. We're actually Sunday now, but it was a good night Friday night. But I shall be here. I don't think she doesn't have a video coming out Monday, but she does plan on doing something, an extra video this week for the toxic positivity. Hold on. Am I stupid? She wants to do a video where she can talk to you guys about that toxic positivity video. So if you haven't seen it, go watch it. Oh, darn it. I am so dry, and I've been drinking water all day. I know she's going to be doing that up this week sometime. Tuesday talk at 1. I'll be here Wednesday night at midnight. I'm not sure if Pixie's going to stream this Thursday or not. She said she was going to when she canceled, so I don't know. Then us on Friday, Gemma and me, and then I should be back on Saturday. And then whatever else might pop up. She's starting to get ready to swing into all of her ideas, so be prepared. Also, donations is a big plus, so please, if you can get it, if you can help out, be appreciative. It pays for the streaming service and all the little extras that help put these videos together, especially her videos. So, decks cost money. She tries to keep them pretty well. New ones coming in, so you guys get a variety. If you donate, you could donate through, CashApp or PayPal. It's in the thing. And again, thank you, Latro. I don't know if you heard me the other night when you sent me a tip. That was really nice of you, guy. Thank you so much. I'm clicking stuff I shouldn't be clicking. Thanks to all for watching. I found some sources for stories. There you go. The Cash App was super easy. Yeah, Cash App is super easy. I appreciate it. Appreciate it much. Actually, I helped pay for StreamYard. So, because all that, I keep extra stuff for that. I'm trying to keep things rocking for her. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'm just saying it helps because it does help keep the channel running. I don't think people really understand sometimes. But we also understand money's tight. And what's going on down south doesn't help either. I personally would rather you be helping those people because they need it the most right now. Though she does need it too. So this is, everybody's hurting. So. But yeah, I don't want to get too much. I'm not very good at that. So, anyways, anybody got anything they want to say before we call it a night? Any subject or something they would like to say? I didn't have many people tonight. Usually I have at least 10 or 12 people come through, at least during the videos. But like I said, it's nice out in the summer. Everybody's getting ready to rock it into the fall. And that's okay. Hopefully I'll get some after views. Sure, the videos will get, her uploads get the after views. So. But everybody, please, I'm just going to go ahead and call it. Everybody have a wonderful night. Edna, Latro, Chris, thanks for hanging. I didn't get to see Nightmare tonight. He must be out roaming around. It was really nice for you guys to hang out with me tonight. I do appreciate it. And those who watched in the background, I appreciate you watching. Hope you enjoyed the uploads, our silliness. It's still Saturday night, kind of. Yeah, I personally, I still say it's Saturday night until morning. Have a wonderful one. Folks, I love y'all. Again, thank you. Thanks for those who ghost. Thank you to those who rewatched the replay or watched the replay. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful Sunday. And